The first one we are going to see is like. It is a keyword that is used to search the string data that matches a specific pattern. Let us look at some examples. Suppose you have this data table in a health insurance company database. In this table, which is patient detail table, you can see there are 3 columns. First is patient's insurance ID, name, and disease they are diagnosed with. You can see some rows here. Now suppose you are asked to find out patients which have claimed for any type of cancer. Just by looking at the table, you can say that the output table will have 4 rows that it contains cancer. Right? These are the 4 rows which contains cancer. How can we apply this filter, or how can we get these rows by applying filter on this disease column to get the required output using SQL? So let's look at the code. Well, before applying the filter, we need to select the rows from our dataset. Hence, we write the query as select star from patient detail, right? We are selecting all the data from the input table patient detail. Then we have to filter based on the condition. Patients who have cancer of any type according to a problem. How do we filter based on the condition? With the where clause? And which column should we check the condition on? This is the disease column, because that only has the required disease or required data which tells whether the person is diagnosed with cancer or something else. Finally, we need to use a wildcard to match a string in this column containing cancer. Since for all the cancer values in the table, the disease name starts with C and ends with any text, we can use the percent wildcard we learned about in SQL wildcard lesson. If you remember, percent is a wildcard which is used to identify pattern, so it will match any characters in the text after C. Great. Now let's go to the metabase and try to get this dataset with a like keyword. But before that, let's look at this query also. This is the one that we are going to use in metabase itself. It is select star from patient detail, and then we are filtering using where, on which column, disease column, searching for a string which is starting with C so that we can get cancer. So like, and in quote C, then percentage, means after C anything could follow. Okay, so let's go to metabase and try to solve this. So which table we are going to look at is patient detail. As usual, let's make a comment, patient detail. And before writing any query, it is a good practice to have a look at the table as it is without adding any filter or any other function. So let's write that select star from patient detail. This is the table name. Let's execute it. Great. We are able to see 7 rows and 3 columns over here. The columns, as we have seen before also, are patient insurance ID, name, and disease that the patient is diagnosed with. Now, let's modify the query. What we want is, we want to see the details of the patient who are diagnosed with cancer. That's what we want to do, right? This is what we want. And if you see this data, any disease which is cancer, any type of cancer, it is starting with C. So we are just bothered about cancer. Anything could follow that. There is no worry. So we can use like, right? We can use the like function over here to achieve this. Let's see how we will do this. Everything remains same. I'm selecting all rows, that is select star. From which table we want, that is patient details table. Okay. From this, we want to filter the data for cancer patients only. So where Which column we are picking it up from? Disease. Then like, since we are searching the string and we don't want to give the complete thing. Then C, and percentage means it will search for anything in disease starting with C followed by anything else. What is this percentage? Percentage is known as the wildcard. Let's execute this. Great. We have our result. We can see 4 rows are over here where insurance ID is 121, name of the patient is Jadunath, and disease is cancer blood. So like that, we have all the 4 patients listed over here who have cancer and their disease starts with C. Over here, C. That's why you are getting these details over here. The first letter of the word cancer we have taken in a like, and then anything can follow after that. Great. So we have been able to query this in Metabase and see how the output looks like. Now we want to filter the people whose name starts with S and they also have cancer. Can you spot those rows? Take a moment and think about it. What the output should look like. Great. So here's the output. Just by looking at the table, you can say that the output table will have 2 rows. Can you write the query to solve this question before I write the code to you? Let's give it a try. So I want you guys to give it a try. So please go ahead, pause the video for a couple of minutes and write this query. Okay. So here's the query. What we are doing over here is we are keeping things same, that is select star from patient detail. We only have to modify the where clause. If you have used AND operator, you guys got it correct. Okay, whosoever have been able to do it, as we have 2 conditions to solve to get the final result for the problem. Where name like, it should start with S. So S and percentage, that's the wildcard. Anything, any text which comes after this, but the name should start with S. And also has the disease which starts with C, that is cancer. So disease like can C and then percentage. So what is the output that we are getting over here? We are getting these 2 rows with insurance ID 159 and 234. Okay. So first we need the patients whose name starts with S, and then what we need is we need the disease which is cancer, and we are saying that starts with C, anything it can follow after that. So that's where we have used these 2 conditions. Okay, great. So now let's try to achieve this in Metabase also. Moving again to Metabase. What we are doing over here, we already have patients with cancer. Same thing we are going to modify. What we need is only one piece, that is name like S. And right, these are 2 conditions and they both should be fulfilled. That's why we are using AND over here. If you see select star from patient details, where name like S means patient name should start with S and disease like C, so that we can get a list of patients who are diagnosed with cancer. These both the conditions should be fulfilled. That's why we are separating it, or we are adding these 2 conditions in the where clause with an operator which is AND. Let's execute and see if we get the same output. Great. So we got 2 rows over here as we have seen just few seconds before. Insurance ID 159 and 234. We have got patient's name which is starting with S, as well as the disease which is cancer and it's starting with C. Okay. So now let us consider another old table which you guys are very much familiar with, that is employees detail table. Let's write a comment over here. What is the one that we are going to see? That is employee detail. And as usual, first thing first, we will see what are the columns over here, what are the rows, or how the data looks like, just to refresh your memory. Select star from employees detail. This is the table that we want. Let's execute. Okay, so we got the details, we got different columns about the employee table, we got different details for the employee in this table. There are 1,000 rows in this table, so we pretty much know. We are not going into details for that. So what we are looking for now, we want employees who work in toys department and their first name starts with A. So we need two things. First is employees who are working with in toys department and their first name should start with A. Let's break it down. Let's take step by step. First condition is that the employees are working in toys department. So how we will achieve that? We know this thing. First of all, let's write what we are trying to do so that it would become easy. This is what we are trying to achieve. So breaking the problem into two pieces, first we will understand who are the employees who work in toys department. So let's write this. Simple, select star from employees detail. This is the table that we want, where, and I want the exact department over here. That's why I'm writing where department is equals to toys. No like over here. It is just department is equals to toys because I want the exact department to match with, that is toys department. Let's execute this query. And we got the result. If you see, whatever rows we are getting over here, all rows are having department just as toys, nothing else. Now let's add another piece over here. What it says, first name starts with A. This is what we are trying to achieve, right? First name starts with A. I don't know, that person name could be Anora, it could be Arun, it could be anything, right? I don't know that what is the name, but I want the person name to start with A. So I have to use like condition and I want both the conditions to be fulfilled. That's why and first name like, what is the condition? It should start with A. After that, anything follows, we are not bothered, right? So that's it. And we got the output. If you see, these are the only rows that we are having over here. And we got employee ID 17, name is Enoda, and this person is working in department toys. Same way, we got employee ID 128, Archibald, and this person is also working in toys. So both our conditions are fulfilled. Person is working in department toys as well as person name starts with A. Okay, so great. We got the output. We learned that how to use different amalgamation of where. Let's see few more things over here. So we can observe here that we have used a percentage symbol. This is a wildcard. We have learned this in types of wildcard lesson also, right? You guys have gone through that. Essentially, we are checking to see if the character A is present along with any number of characters after that. If any characters are there, it might not be there, but if it's there, whatever is the length, we are not bothered. Whatever are the characters, we are not bothered. It's just that the condition is first name should start with A. So that's the reason that we have put A followed by percentage. It mandatory thing is that it should start with A. Anything can follow after that. Okay, now let us say we want to find the list of employees whose name starts with A or S. There are two conditions, remember. But what is a differentiator over here? There is no and over here. It can start with any of these two letters. So how we will do this thing? Let's write select star. Of course, all the rows it will select from whatever is the table that we have. That is employees detail table. Then what do we want over here? We want where first name. I'm saying start. I'm not giving the exact name. So, of course, I have to use like A and then a wildcard. It can have anything. Or it can also start. So, of course, if it is a or, we will use the keyword or over here, or like. It can start with S also. There is no other condition that we have. So, we have written select star from employees detail where first name like A or first name like S. We got the output. If you see, there is nothing on the department side, but we got the output with all the people having their first name either starting with A or starting with S. It is just the start that we are bothered about. We are not bothered about anything that follows that. So we have used or operator over here as we need. It should either start with A or it should start with S. If I put and over here, that condition will never be fulfilled. Any name, okay, right? Any name can't start with A and S both at the same time. It's not possible. I can have either name starting with A or starting with S. So, great. We are done with this. Now, let's say we have one more piece of the query and we are saying we want only the employees whose name does not start with A. Okay, does not. I'm using the word name is not starting with A. So, what we are doing, I'm modifying the query. It is trying to achieve over here, right? Simple, nothing to be afraid of, or it is not complicated. It is just select star. Same thing, you have to mention the table, that is employees detail table. And then what we have the condition where first name not like. It is not that I want it, I don't want it. That is not like. Just before like, we have used a word that is not. It is a keyword that we are using along with like to make it negative, right? To make it negative like, not like. Okay, not like. Everything remains same. It should not start with A, right? So rest of the things remain same. It is select star from employees detail where first name not like A. Let's execute this. And great, we are having all the employees, but if you see, none of the employees have the first name starting with A. So great, we have achieved this also. Now let's generalize the syntax. Like is a keyword that is used to search for data that matches a specific pattern, right? We have learned with examples. One more important thing we have learned is like operator is always used with where clause. Also, we can combine multiple likes in case we want to find multiple patterns. Here is the syntax. Okay, what is the syntax that we have? Where, as usual, we have the select statement and the table name, that is select column 1, column 2 from table name, that is usual that we use everywhere, right? Then we have the where clause to filter our data. Then we use the keyword like and the pattern. If the pattern is a percentage, that means in column name, all the values starting with A will be printed, which we have also seen in the example.